Welcome to Massive Beers. My name is Matt. We do the beer stuff here. A little bit of poor man's brewing up in this piece in the form of their Tmavé Pivo dark lager. A little bit of lager love, a little dark Czech lager. I don't think they had the ABV on this. We'll guess. We'll guess towards the end. Maybe we'll look it up in the old internets. This comes courtesy of my boy Ty. He's kind of sort of out towards Poor Man Brewing. And he sent me a couple beers off, this being one of them. And I am excited because I love me some dark lager. I love me lager in general, but dark lagers, man. Just love them. Just love them to bits. Label-wise, I'm not going to sit here and say that, Poor Man's Brewing is the pinnacle of label artistry. But I will tell you this. Simple to the point. Listen. Czech dark lager. Let's get to the point. And it's very distinct. If I see this from across the room, I know it's Poor Man's Beer, so good on them for that, marketing-wise. Beer-wise, definitely looks a part of what you'd expect from a dark lager. From a distance, I would say, because not that this is out of the ordinary, but if I hold it up to light it, get a lot of mahogany color as opposed to just a rich kind of brown. That's not out of style. It's just not something you see a ton of. Pinky finger, a nice kind of soft, creamy kind of head to it, and just this clearish brown / mahogany colored kind of body to it. So yeah, definitely looks a part of a nice little dark lager. Let's get a nose on a beer I poured way too much into. No, that smells really, really nice, to be perfectly honest with you, because it has this nice, roasted toasted maltiness, but also this nice kind of chalkiness, that almost chocolatiness, not chalkiness, that almost has a little bit of confectionery to it, a little bit of, sweetness to it. It's not desserty by any stretch of the imagination, but the way that rich kind of chocolate malt kind of comes off, it reminds me of something that is a little more, adulty, desserty. Yeah. A precursor to a tiny bit of bittering, nothing too aggressive. I expect it to be a little bit more in the taste, but man, you get this really crisp, clean, kind of rich, dark lager malt vibe with this touch of this sweetness that adds this little kind of fluttering thought of milk chocolate in your brain, and a really well done, zero kind of flawy, negative kind of nose on it. Let's dive in. Cheers, all. It's really good. Honestly, really good. That chocolate portion I was talking about is there, but I thought it'd be a little bit bigger. Outside of that, we're really kind of leaning heavily into classic kind of Czech dark lager, Tmavé Pivo kind of vibes. Sans one thing, the mouthfeel here has a little bit of kind of, I don't want to use the word grittiness, because that is a negative. It's a softness that has this little cocoa powder particulate. You ever drink a milk, like a Nesquik, but the powdered kind, and you stir it up and you go to take a drink of it, but there's a blob of it was insoluble and it's floating around in there, and you drink it and it perfs in your mouth kind of thing. It has that kind of vibe going to it. A little very specific on that, but it has a soft little, I don't know, fluffy kind of vibe to the mouthfeel while still retaining its lager kind of roots. Like I said, that hairy little dollop of chocolate, and outside of that, a nice staunch bittering, a nice rich dark maltiness, nothing too overly sweet. It finishes relatively clean. That bittering lingers a little bit on the back of your palate. I'll drink 40 of these. 40, depending on how high an ABV they are. I think this may be pushing 6%. Let's put it that way. I think it's a higher on the range, maybe even into 6% for Tmavé Pivo. But as Czech dark lagers go, especially from the American-born side of things, it gives you a little bit of Americanized twists on it. Very subtle, but its core, its center is very much rooted in the traditional kind of Czech dark lager, and that's very good. Very much a good thing. Add your own little spice, add your own personality on top of it, and a really well made, zero as far as off flavor flaw, negative, anything like that. Really clean, well made lager with a nice kind of little twists and turns on it while still retaining its roots. I dig it. I really do. I've had a couple of Poor Man beers. Most of them actually have come courtesy of Thai. And I've dug what I've had. I've reviewed a couple. Some I have not. But this one might be my favorite one out of the bunch, to be perfectly honest with you. Let's see. Before I hit enter, I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna go 5.8. We're gonna go by Untapped for whatever that's worth. 4.8. I'm a whole percentage point off. Now that I know this is 4.8, do we get Poor Man's Brewing? Yeah, 4.8 directly from the source. One whole percentage point off, and now I will drink 47,000 of these because it's sub 5%. You know, one of the things that non-alcoholic beers can rarely replicate is mouthfeel. It's kind of, you need the alcohol to have that. And that tends to tip its hand. Or let me rewind that and say it in a different way. That tends to be the thing that tips the hand of ABV level for a lot of different beers. And that's why I went with a higher one on this, because this has that, like I said, it's not just a straight lager mouthfeel. There is a fullness here. Where that's coming from, it's probably just a roasted malt thing in combination with hops, fooling my brain, fooling my palate. But it felt a little denser, it felt a little heavier. Again, retaining those lager vibes, but it felt a little beefier. And that's why I went to 5.8 for them. Testament to them. Big ups to Poor Man for doing a sub 5% of that drinks something like this. Really delicious stuff, and honestly, kind of have to go out there now. You know, it's been enough beers in a row to where I really dig them, so I have to make a road trip. So, Ephrata, I think is where they're from. Off we go. Anyway, so yeah, let's talk about it. It's one of the better truck dark lagers that I've had as of late. Yes, for sure. Value and availability, I really need to know. How much did this cost? Ty or anybody out there? You know, you're talking about a 4-pack Tmavé Pivo. I want this to be no more than $14 a 4-pack. Hopefully that's the case. It's not brewery only, I believe. I believe they distribute and leave you with, if you like what we like this beer, if you like Czech Dark Lager. Why do I keep saying Lagla? Not lager. I don't know why. I apologize. Czech Dark Lager. You'll dig this. So there you go. Review in the books. Poor Man's, have you been to the brewery? Have you had their beers? Have you had this beer? All that fun stuff down there. Hopefully you enjoyed the review. Hopefully you're enjoying a little bit of Dark Lager right now. And hopefully see you next time. Cheers, y'all.